Good morning, everyone. We'd like to welcome you to our council meeting this morning. We are back in our city council chambers. So this is not an April Fool's joke. This is it feels a little bit like the city council reunion, you know, to be back together and be with these folks that I enjoy working with so much. I just want, for those who are with us physically and also electronically, the mask requirement does remain in place for city buildings, and so I appreciate that everyone that I'm looking at is wearing a mask right now. And for those who are watching this at home, the council is respecting that rule as well, and we all wore our masks as we came in. We do have erected, for your information, in here, plastic barriers, and we're all hermetically sealed. I think in keeping the Seinfeld Bubble Boy episode comes to mind here. But we are protected and not spreading the virus. And I would also note that all of the council has been immunized as well. So I just want to make sure everyone knows that we are respecting good protocols regarding limiting the spread of the virus. But during the course of our meeting, while we're speaking and interacting with each other, we likely won't be wearing masks because of the other precautions that have been taken. Our first item of business today is to conduct a meeting of the Mesa Housing Services Board. And so I want to excuse from this meeting board member Gary Nelson and Francisco Heredia, who are unavailable. I'll note that Mr. Thompson is with us virtually. Welcome, Kevin. The first item on our agenda for this meeting is items from citizens present. Ms. Mickelson, have there been any blue cards submitted?
No requests.
All right, thank you. Next item is approval of minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Thank you, Mr. Luna, seconded by Mr. Freeman. We'll do a roll call vote. Board member Freeman, how do you vote? Aye. Thank you. Board member Spilsbury.
Aye.
Thank you. Vice Chairperson Duff.
Aye.
Thank you. Board member Luna.
Aye.
Thank you. Board member Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you, and I vote aye as well, so that motion passes unanimously. Next item on our agenda is to hear a presentation and provide direction on updates on the city's housing choice voucher programs. Welcome, our housing director, Mary. Good to see you with us. And Rosario, welcome. Good to have you with us.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair and board members. I'm Mary Brandon, and Rosario Beltran-Joshi with me today is our housing supervisor. We'll be presenting to you and seek approval for our annual plan. Mr. Nelson is no longer on our program, so we will be sending a recommendation to the city clerk's office for the new resident on this board. Just some history on our annual plan. The Mesa Housing Authority is required to do a 5-year plan every 5 years, and last year we did the 5-year plan and the board did approve that. So this is our first year that we are coming with our goals and objectives on how well we have done this last year on that 5-year plan. So just a couple highlights of our objectives. You've all received our objectives and goals and the annual plan with your information, but I just want to highlight a few of those that we have done. Our payment standards. Every year we get the fair market rents that are given to us by HUD, and we align our payment standards with those fair market rents. A payment standard we use for the calculation of the amount of rent that each participant can look for, as well as their portion of rent. So we look at that and we plan and we strategize on what is the best payment standard to stay within those fair market rents, understanding that the fair market rents can be 2 years behind sometimes. And with our high market rents right now, we look at that. So we have chosen this year to have our payment standards at 105% of the 1 and 2 bedrooms of the fair market rent. The reason for that is the 1 and 2 bedrooms are over 60% of our vouchers, are 1 and 2 bedrooms, and those are the units that are hard to find right now in the city. So we want to keep those payment standards high so the participants can find that size of units. Our virtual briefings and hearings, due to COVID, we've all had to do a lot of different things. So our briefings for our participants and applicants and families that are moving in from other cities, we have done virtual. They've been by phone mostly because the technology that some of our participants have, they wouldn't be able to do it by video. So we have done those. Our audit for 1920, there was no findings, there was no concerns on the way that our program is. Enhanced Landlord Outreach Program. We've had our outreach program for our landlords for a couple years. We've had to look at different ways this last year to outreach to them, but it continues to be our struggle. We have enhanced it. We've tried different directions on how to do that. We are looking at some opportunities that possibly we could use some of the stimulus money for maybe a enhanced landlord outreach program, and we've come up with, we're hoping some higher risk or higher incentives that would help us find new landlords, additional landlords, for them to work with our programs. Another goal that we met is our utilization. This 2020, we ended at 99.7%, which is awesome. That means that we have utilized every voucher we had, really close to almost every voucher we had to assist families in Mesa. Another one is promoting family self-sufficiency program. Last year when we were here with you in November, you asked about the family self-sufficiency program. So let me just tell you a little bit about that real quick while we're on this subject. It is a HUD program. It is optional. Any voucher holder in our programs can choose to be on this program. If they choose, they fill out an application. The family self-sufficiency specialist reviews the application. They sit down with the participant and they set goals. What are the roadblocks to make them sufficient? Is it that they need a GED? They don't have a high school diploma? Do they work in employment that if they had a certain certificate, they could have a raise or an increase of income as well as a position? Do they not have a banking account? Do they need to learn how to budget? What are the roadblocks that they need to be sufficient? So they sit down and they set those goals for that person. Everybody has different goals, and they sign a contract up to 5 years. So the specialist gives them community resources to go and go take classes at schools, at colleges, to sit down with a finance person to help them budget and to learn how to do bank accounts and such. So we use our community partners for those resources to assist us with those programs. After the 5 years, up to the 5 years, if they've met their goals, they can graduate from the program. One incentive for the program is the escrow account that they could have. So if I was a new FSS participant and I paid $50 a month for my rent, and I went and met some of my goals, and my income now has increased, and now I am paying $150 a month for rent. That $100 difference every month goes into their escrow account. And so as their income increases or decreases, because your base is now that $50 where I came into the program, that goes into an escrow account. When they graduate, they get that check. They get that amount. We've had some good stories with that. One is a couple years ago, she also used our home buyer program, went through the classes for home buyer, took her, I think she got like $11,000. She took that and had the match for the down payment assistance and bought a home and is no longer on the program. We had another single mother that I think she got like $3,000, bought a used car. She's always used public transportation. And so that was a great thing for her to now have that independency on being able to have a car to get her family where she needed to go. Not all are totally self-sufficient and no longer need the program, but we're paying less rent for them, and they're able to increase with that.
Hey, Mary, thank you. First of all, I think that's a wonderful idea that you're doing this. Can you tell me now, is this counselor that's working with these individuals, is that person that's housed within your department? Mm-hmm. And the other one is, what agencies are you working with? I know a number of our nonprofits here in the city of Mesa provide those wraparound services, and you said you're working with some of those as well. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me which agencies you might be working with, and then tell me a little bit about the person that's on your staff that's working with these individuals?
Yeah, Donna Hunter is our family self-sufficiency specialist. So if she's assigned, I think her caseload right now is about 50. She has about 50 families that are or individuals that are on her program. She does their casework all the way through, you know, their annual research and everything. So she knows exactly what's going on with that. She has quarterly meetings with them, if not more, but at minimum quarterly meetings. Some of the nonprofits that we work with is A New Leaf, and I know that she works, I wished I had the whole list with me, and I apologize for that, but I know that they work with
Mesa Community College.
yeah, you can finish.
Thank you. She works with the colleges, Mesa Community College, and New Leaf, and the resources. We can come back with the list.
No, that's okay, because I think your community colleges, then you create a pathway for further education.
Yes.
If you're working with MCC or
Yes.
any colleges within the area. So, no, I think it's a great program. I think you should pursue this. Is there any way that it could be obligatory, that they have to go through this, because, or it's just an option at this point?
Right, it's a HUD program and it is optional.
Okay.
She does reach out to our participants. She sends flyers, she sends postcards. If a housing specialist says, oh, I just leased up this person, I think that'd be a really good participant, then she reach out to them individually. Another thing she has done is when someone has not had any income and the housing specialist says, oh, they just got a new job, this might be the time to reach out to them for
Right.
this incentive.
No, and I do like the whole financial literacy part of it, and then the saving money for escrow. It's just a great idea, so thank you for your hard work.
Yeah. So last year we had 3 graduates, this year so far, and we're already just in April. I almost said March. She has had 5 graduates with that. Another thing that Donna has shared with me is we've had the program here in Mesa for 25 years with Housing Authority, and we have given out over $1 million in escrow. So I thought that was a good data for you. Every year, we have to update our administrative plan. Our administrative plan is the plan that we use for our policies, processes, and regulations that HUD has given us for how we do our program here in Mesa. Each year, we have to do updates for that. Some of the updates are just clarification, or it could be a whole regulation change, or maybe it's a policy that we need to change here in Mesa. So HUD gives us the you must do this, and we can't do anything about that. And then you may or shall, and we can decide how we want to do that regulation or policy here in Mesa. So a couple updates. There was not a whole lot this year. A lot of clarification. One of them is background checks for eligibility. Each year, we do background checks for our participants annually at their annual recertification. And then when they're coming onto the program, we do background checks. and we use a company, and we pull that. The new policy from HUD is that we cannot use arrest records or criminal records solely based on those. We cannot deem them ineligible or terminate them, that we have to ask for additional information and try to understand what is going. Just because they were arrested does not mean that they're going to lose their assistance. So that was the change this year, is that we need to not solely rely on those things from there. The next one is the waiting list. Currently, we have to update the waiting list and send out an update letter to everyone on that waiting list to make sure that we have the most current information. We're required right now to do that annually. The new policy for July is that we have to do that as a as-needed basis. So if we feel like we haven't done it for a while, and it could be maybe they've moved or have added family members, then we would feel like we would do it. I can see that we'd still do it pretty close to annually, just to make sure we have a good, solid information for those that are on our waiting list. Income from assets. A change from that is the real property asset. When we're calculating income to see what their portion of rent is, we use wages, and we also have to do assets. So for real property assets currently, and I had to have Rosario share this with me, is we currently, our net value of the asset. Right now, it's 10% of the market value, so that did change. One other thing is moving with continued assistance. If the family's income that they pay, they're moving into a new unit and they're paying full rent, we cannot enter into a HAP contract with the landlord because they're sufficient. They can pay their full rent. They don't need our assistance any longer. I just wanted to share with you our utilization. In 2019, we were at 95.6. This year, we ended at 99.7, which is a great accomplishment. Our admin fees, I just wanted to share with you that in 2019, we spent just over what was allocated to us, but we have reserves that was able to cover that. In 2020, we did not expend all of our admin fees. A couple reasons for that is we had staff working on CARES programs and was able to charge some of their time to the CARES dollars, which gave us cost savings. So we do have a little bit more in our reserves that we will continue to use. Just one quick thing I wanted to share with you is with the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, it says in there, as I read it, that housing authorities that have high utilization may be awarded some additional vouchers. Those vouchers are to be used for homeless, at risk of homeless, fleeing domestic violence, also human trafficking, stalking, sexual assault. So by May 10th, we should know if we're able to get what our number of vouchers we'll be receiving, the guidance on how those will be used. So we'll be coming back to you for approval on that.
Mary, on the additional vouchers, if we receive additional vouchers, do you think we have the landlords to participate in the program, or do we need to do additional incentives or recruitment or something?
Yes.
Assuming that since we do have a high utilization, that we will receive those vouchers.
Yeah, Board Member Duff, yes, we will have to really enhance our landlord outreach. We are finding that our participants are finding units to move into. It's the hard to house that have the hardest time to find landlords, so that's really where we need to target. And now I'll have Rosario show you the couple slides real quick.
Good morning, Chair and board members. My name is Rosario Beltran Joshi, and I'm the housing supervisor. This current chart represents the rents paid to our landlords for 2020. As you can see, there was an increase in March through May, and the reason why is because some of our participants lost their jobs during the start of the pandemic, and that resulted in more housing assistance payments to our landlords. After the month of June, our HAP has been leveling out throughout the year. And that's because participants reported an increase in their income, and our utilization is more level. We have 191 Veterans Affairs Supportive Housing Vouchers, which we call VASH vouchers. And these vouchers are for homeless veterans that require or that have VA casework as well. Currently, we have 158 housed. And as you can see, in the last 2 years, our utilization for the VASH vouchers continues to increase. The lowest was at 121 2 years ago. Today, we will be having 6 additional new veterans moving into the program, and that's going to make it to 164 veterans housed. This has been the highest that we have been in several years. I also want to share that last week we had a meeting with the VA and our HUD representatives, and we were informed that one of the priorities for the VA at this time is to get veterans vaccinated. We were also informed that the VA is continuously looking for ways to increase utilization so that we can continue to get referrals from them. And a couple of challenges that our housing authority has are the landlord participation. That continues to be a struggle for a while, and the Landlord Outreach program is going well. We have made 50 visits to landlords since the beginning of the year and over 300 emails and phone calls to landlords. We are using the incentive program to promote and encourage landlords to work with our program. The high market rents continue, and for all the rent increase requests that we receive, we do a rent reasonable review to make sure that the rent is reasonable. We are finding out that the rents are reasonable, and the per unit cost is increasing, and that's the portion of rent that we pay for the tenant. Now, due to COVID, we had to cancel our inspections last year 2 times, with the exception of the initial inspections. Now, due to the COVID impact, we are catching up to complete the inspections that were suspended, and we do have a waiver from HUD through the end of June of this year. We are currently working on completing the inspections that were canceled and the inspections that are due at the same time, but we feel comfortable and confident that we will be able to accomplish this. Yes.
I just wanted to inquire on the incentives. What kind of incentives do we offer to landlords to enroll in the program?
Yes. So vacancy payments. We offer vacancy payments for participants that are leaving the program, and if a landlord is willing to rent the unit to one of our voucher participants, and we will pay for up to, Mary, 7 days of vacancy payments to the landlords.
And we do also pay up to $2,000 for damages of the unit. So this is the end of our presentation. One other thing I wanted to note that I forgot is that the eviction moratorium, you probably heard, has been extended to June 30th. So we do have that. So we can answer any questions, or we'll let the chair go forward with the action items.
Thank you very much. Board, any additional questions for these folks? Yes, Vice Mayor.
This is, housing is a big passion of mine. So what do we offer, or do we do anything on deposits when someone goes to rent a place? There's the deposit, which is sometimes not doable. So do we cover that?
Yes, Chair Duff. We do have a security and utility deposit program that we get funding from the home dollars. So we can assist with up to 2 months of rent for security deposit and the utility deposit program as well. Also, with our landlord incentive program, we can help with administrative fees as well and application fees.
Excellent, thank you.
Yes, Board Member Spilsbury.
I know we have about, I think, is it 28 or 30 of the Family Unification Program vouchers. If with some of the new CARES money coming in, is it possible we could look at increasing that number for these kids that are timing out of the foster program and have nowhere to go, and increase the vouchers for that specific group?
Yes, board members, Salisbury. When we get the guidance, I think we will know if we'll be able to, what target population we can do for those vouchers, but that is an option that we can do. We continue to look for the notices if there's additional vouchers available that we can apply for as well.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Mark, go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman. You know, I'm just really appreciative of you and the Mesa Housing team. You know, there's a lot of responsibilities here meeting to the needs of our community, so kudos to you. And I appreciate seeing all the goals and objectives. One of the things I've heard year after year is getting enough landlords in the program to offset the needs in our community, and that's just not happening. But again, reaching out to them is important. So continue to do that, but I like what you're doing, and thank you very much.
Mr. Luna?
Mary Rosario, when you look at housing, do you look throughout the entire community, or is there more concentration in certain areas of the city? How is that working?
Chair Luna, thank you very much. Not chair, sorry, board member Luna, sorry.
He's the chair.
You have a new job now.
You can be the chair.
I apologize. One thing with the voucher program is we give each participant or applicant their voucher. We tell them how much rent they can look for according to their income. They can go anywhere within the city limits to find housing. So it really is up to them where they would like to live, whether it's they need to be near family or near schools or whatever.
You know, I think about that, I'm sure being by the light rail or public transportation is important, so, so you leave it up to the individual to make that decision.
Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you so much, and also kudos to you and your staff. Councilmember Freeman certainly
Thank you.
said exactly what I wanted to say, so thank you.
Thank you. Other questions? Well, ladies, let me just echo the praise that you heard a moment ago, that to have such a high utilization in this type of a housing market where landlords really, you know, can demand top dollar, and then there's no reason for them to participate in this program necessarily, other than that they want to contribute to the community and help people. That's to me, that's a sign of a healthy program, and so again, kudos to you for managing such a great program. We appreciate it. As a result, the next item on our agenda is to take action on a resolution approving the housing annual plan for this fiscal year and authorizing the chair to submit the plan to HUD. Are there any questions on that motion? Would someone like to make that motion? Thank you, Mr. Luna, seconded by Ms. Spilsbury. We'll do a roll call vote. Board Member Freeman, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. Board Member Spilsbury.
Aye.
Thank you. Vice Chair Duff.
Aye.
Thank you, Board Member Luna.
Aye.
Thank you, Board Member Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you, and I vote aye as well, so that motion passes unanimously. Thanks again, ladies. Is there a motion to adjourn this meeting? Thank you, Mr. Freeman, seconded by Mr. Luna. We'll do a voice vote. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. We are adjourned.